Hey, Rick.
Good morning, Scott.
I'm no longer Aunt Debbie.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, do you guys sell, but they're called funeral policies or something like that?
Yep.
Insurance policies?
Yep. Debbie does that, my fiance. So just call the office and ask for her and she'll sit down with you. It's a guaranteed contract usually. So
Yeah, and it's basically designed to cover the cost of the funerals, right?
exactly. Yep.
I know we had one for my mom, and Kim and I are getting up.
Hello, everybody. Let's go.
We're thinking about that.
Let's go to a table, remain standing. And Ann, you're going to do our invocation today.
We'll talk later, Rick.
Okay.
Hey, guys, welcome. I'm glad you were able to join us today. Hey, Pat, how are you? Where are you today? Pat?
He's muted.
You're muted.
He's muted.
I'm at Disney World, but only in my mind.
In your virtual.
That's
Your
right.
virtual space. Okay. Gary, how are you?
You're so goofy.
This is your other, huh? Tim, right? Hey, Jim Morris. You're going to join us here? Get some more.
Please bow your heads. To all Rotarians everywhere, a holiday grace. Teach us, Father, when we pray, not to ask for more, but be thankful for the gifts you set beside our door. The hills, the fields, the lakes, the streams, the evening sky above. But the best of all is our friendship, Rotary, and your love. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
The flag of the United States,
States of America, and to the
to
republic
the republic,
which it stands, one nation
one
under
nation,
God,
God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the four-way back. Okay, thank you. Now we'll have breakfast. Guys that are on, those that are on virtual, we're going to go to breakfast now, so you guys can talk about us in private or do whatever you'd like to do.
Bazooka.
I have 10 very happy dollars. Thanks to your generosity with your time last Friday and Saturday. We had a very, very successful bell ringing. On Friday, we raised $959.14. And on Saturday, we improved on that and raised $999.35. Both days, this was the largest kettle the Salvation Army took in that day.
Ooh.
Thank you all.
Those bells really make a difference.
I've got 10 happy dollars. The first 5 is to thank Jeff for the great pick that he did yesterday on the 12 days of Christmas. Thank you, Jeff. And the second one was on November 19th. We welcomed our newest granddaughter. So we've got 2 granddaughters now, both Chris and Julia, and they live in Ann Arbor. And Margaret Marie has joined our family.
Congratulations.
Is Mary sharing her winnings with the grandkids?
I've got 5 happy dollars. Last Friday, Chad and I had a chance to ring bells at Sam's Club, and that was really rewarding. And then we went right from there to the Christmas party. And the Christmas party, it embodies what this club's about. I've been a member for a number of years of this club. And to see the camaraderie, to see the family experience that we all had there, it's just a great club, and it helps me understand why it differentiates us from the rest of the Rotary clubs in the area.
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh.
Right behind.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw. I
I have 20 happy dollars today because I'm pretty sure since I've been back, we've not done happy dollars, sad dollars. So first, I had a baby almost 4 months ago. Her name is Freya Vivian. She's beautiful and wonderful and sleeps through the night, and it's fantastic. Also, my first day back was my oldest daughter's 5th birthday, so I wanted to throw in a few dollars for that. And then for those of you who don't know, I'm also the head curling coach for Wausau East High School, and we beat DC Everest, all of our teams this week. So go East. The Lumberjacks chopping down the trees. We've not won all of our games, but it was still a proud moment. So 20 happy dollars.
Thank you.
I have 5 happy dollars. I was able to bell ring for the first time with Jean, and we did pretty well. And we got to talk, so that was good. We got a lot done.
All right. Anybody over here?
I have $3. One's a sad dollar that I wasn't able to make the party on Friday night. 2 is to thank Chad for filling in for me, ringing bells on Friday with Jeff. I was supposed to do it, but was in a meeting all day. And then the other dollar is just an inquisitive dollar. I want to know if Mary Waller did the dishes in the dishwasher at the reserve after the party. No? You're not allowed. For those of you who don't know, Mary learned on the previous weekend that you don't put Dawn dish soap in a dishwasher.
Oh.
Oh, Tammy.
Okay, is that it?
Nope, wait a minute.
Oh.
We got people. I got people on the screen. They were my-
And there's somebody on.
I thought I should probably add a story to the bell ringing as well. I think we can thank Kaylin for raising some funds. She took Ella through the parking lot with the bells, and people stopped and looked at her and thought she was chasing them down for money. So may have collected some extra because of that. But it was fun. We got to ring with Maggie and Kaylin, and Meg and Ella were along. And also a proud mom moment. We had the National Honor Society ceremony was last week, and Meg was inducted with the group. But in addition to that, Claire Tesh came up after me. She was one of our RILA students and said, I have a thank you card for Rotary. I'm going to give it to Meg and she's going to give it to you. And here it is. So I will pass this along from Claire.
We've got Scott Brainerd.
Yes, I have a happy $20. I was made a grandfather again 2 weeks ago. I have a baby granddaughter by the name of Elizabeth, to my son Andrew and daughter-in-law Melanie. I know many of you think I'm probably a great grandpa, but it's just a grandpa. So I'm very proud of that moment. And also on top of the 20, I have a happy 5. Debbie and her sister took over for me last week, ringing bells as I was working, which is also hard to believe. So thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, great. You're not our grandfather, but that's okay. Anybody else there on the screen want to throw in some happy dollars? Rick Nevers? No? Tim Schultz? Oh, Kent, thank you. Thank you.
Sure. I'll do a happy $5. I got my wife to come ring bells with me on Saturday. My wife and I both sing together in church and stuff. So she brought her carol book and her pitch pipe. And we got a lot of people stopping and complimenting us and throwing extra money in. So it was a fun hour. Really enjoyed it.
Good, good. You know, I will add that I think the bells really make a big difference because you can hear those across the parking lot. And the addition of the second string of bells this year was really good because, you know, you go to Pick and Save, you hear this clink, clink, clink. Doesn't make you want to give, but you get 2 people ringing those sleigh bells and it's like, oh my God, I got to get to some money. So thank you to Jim Warsaw for the use of the and I do have an idea for the board is I think when we have a little extra money here at our Rotary Club, we should invest in our own set of bells that we could then use. And so we don't have to wear yours out.
Oh, don't worry about it. They won't wear out for a while.
Jim Schultz.
Yes, I'd like to give a on-site report on the Reading to Go program from a classroom, and much to the work that Jeff has done. And I'm pleased to report that at least one classroom of kids really looks forward to us coming. And when I announced that we were going to be there tomorrow, the most important thing that they wanted to know was whether they could sing Christmas songs and whether or not I was going to continue my tradition of bringing cookies. There was no mention of the books, but you measure your progress in small increments. So I have that to report.
Thank you. There's one other thing. I know that there's somebody in this room who wants to help Gary deliver mobile meals today. Would you please let Gary know that? Because we're looking for 2 people to do that. So anybody, any volunteers? Can see anybody's arm go up for 11 o'clock at the hospital?
I'll do it.
Who's,
Well, I wasn't thinking about you, Mary. Okay, pins and badges?
Who?
Yep, okay, thank you. All right, everybody have a good week.
thank you, Mary. Let's see, Dave and Kate.
I'm very pleased to be here this morning in my role as your district governor-elect. And I also have Kate Florick here, who's of course one of our members, who's also the chair of the District Environmental Sustainability Task Force. And we're here to make a special presentation to your club, to our club, for its participation in the Rotary Days of Environmental Service last month in connection with the grant program that we participated in with the Wausau Noon Club with regard to electronic equipment recycling. I've asked Kate to say a few words, a little bit about the task force, and then we're going to present you with a certificate, Jim.
Hi, everyone, again. So we started a task force a few months ago to focus on this new area focus from Rotary International of environmental sustainability. And thus far, we've been collecting members from Rotary clubs throughout the district. We drafted a charter, and we recently sent out a survey to all district presidents and secretaries. We're going to follow up with that survey probably after the holidays, just because this can be kind of a crazy time to talk to the presidents who or one of their representatives who have not yet responded to that survey, just so we can start to get an idea of what are the priorities within the district, and then what are the things that this task force can really take on on a bigger scale. So still in our forming stages, but really excited. If anybody here wants to be on this committee with me, we do also have a co-chair from the Greater Portage County Rotary Club. Her name is Heather Hebner. But if anyone wants to join as somebody who has a passion for environmental sustainability, let me know.
So Jim, it's a great pleasure for me to present to you a Rotary Day of Service Certificate of Recognition from Rotary International President Shaker Maida in recognition of the Wausau Early Birds Rotary Club for hosting a Rotary Day of Service on November 12th and 13th. Congratulations on your accomplishment, and thank you for your efforts to serve to change lives. And Luke is going to take a picture of a presentation. So let's step forward here. Jim, you in the middle. Just step forward. Kate, you on the other side? I don't know what the final count is. I think at last count, they were just under $12,000 that was raised for the Good News Project. But I think now they've gotten quite a few more laptops and cell phones. So I think they're approaching maybe $14,000 or $15,000. So it's amazing.
And who thought, we all thought that, no, this is going to be a bust. It worked out pretty well for everybody. Thank you. Roger, would you please introduce our guest speaker today?
Oh, that didn't mean to do that. Oh. Well, our speaker today is Dr. Tim Logan. You may know Tim as the husband of our distinguished member, Carrie, as a musician, an avid angler, and a big game hunter. Tim is from Shawano, graduated from the University of Wisconsin Medical School, and came to Wausau in 1992 with Cardiovascular Associates. 9 years ago, Tim helped start Aspirus Ideal Weight Solutions. He is board certified in Obesity Medicine. Now, when Kaylin asked me to introduce him and I read that, I started a diet and a workout program. And the good news is I've only gained 2 pounds. Oh, Tim works to bring recognition, understanding, and treatment to what some call the biggest health crisis in America. To discuss the extent, causes, and solution to obesity, please welcome Dr. Tim Logemann. Tim, we extended into your time a little bit, and at 8 o'clock, some people may get up and leave. Don't be offended. And if you want to go a little longer, feel free to talk until you see Jim Wausau. Stand up with a mug in his hand.
He's the metric, is that right? Yeah, thanks for having me. And I apologize, I guess, for the topic. It's not quite as lighthearted as all the other stuff that's going on, because we really are sort of facing a crisis at this point in time in the country. And so my goal is, I spent the last 10 years studying this day and night. And in these 15 minutes, I think I should be able to relay everything I learned. So I don't think it'll be bad. This, as you may or may not remember, I didn't make it when I was supposed to be here before. And that's what I was doing the day that I wasn't here. That's a tent in Alaska. That's my earplugs, because my brother was across the tent. And I woke up one night in the middle of the night and I started screaming for the guide. There's bears out there. There's bears out there. He goes, that's your brother snoring. Go back to sleep. So you put those in and then you can't hear the bears coming to get you. So anyway, obviously we all know about the pandemic that makes the news on a fairly regular basis. This pandemic that we're in will pass at some point in time. All virus pandemics do. But the one that I'm going to talk about today is going to continue to get highly likely to get worse and worse, right? So I'm sorry. This one? Just go forward. Yeah, we don't have that many slides. We're going to finish on time no matter what. So this is just my disclosures, which we do at medical talks to get rid of any conflicts of interest. I did grow up in Shawano, which some people get very worried about. That sometimes I do get pretty passionate about this topic as well. We can go forward. And just to prove, actually, you probably don't get a lot of speakers from Shawano, but number 70 in your roster and number 1 in your heart right there. Shawano used to be in, we used to play East, for those old timers, you know this, but we used to play East and West and get routinely the hell beat out of us back then. But some people do get up and leave. A lot of terms I think might be useful to talk about that get thrown around. So epidemic, a sudden occurrence of a particular undesirable phenomena, like a virus. Pandemic, over the whole country or the world. An endemic, which we hope the virus will become, actually. It's commonly found, but usually then much less severe. So what we're seeing right now is an epidemic of obesity. And it snuck up on us over the last probably 40 or 50 years or so. And sometimes when things sneak up on you, you don't see it. Carrie took out my slide of Gilligan's Island, which I think is a great slide. She was afraid I'd go down the Mary Ann Ginger tangent too far. But if you go back and look at old movies, old family slides, pick TV shows from the 50s and 60s, they were all smoking, I'll give you that. But the total population just looks very different than it does now. It's snuck up on us, and there's a lot of data about how those things change. But this is a slide from Wisconsin. So the darker, the worse the obesity rates. So you're seeing obesity is defined as a body mass index. That's a height weight ratio. There's problems with that with any definitions, but that's the best we have at this point in time. So these dark countries have obesity rates or these dark areas have obesity rates that approach 50%, right? And, we can talk about it, but obesity is not a lifestyle or a personal habit. It's a disease, right? And this is the scary one, right? Childhood obesity, 21 to 38%. So these are people just in the start of life, which are setting themselves up for type 2 diabetes and all other types of health problems. So it's really a crisis at this point in time. This one is a pretty famous slide. So the years are up on top. So again, we talked a little bit about how it's kind of snuck up on us. So yellow is only 20-30% obesity in 1990. As the colors change, you get down to red. Then you see what they sort of call the obesity belt, which is down south. The California people tend to do a little bit better. Wisconsin, I think because of our Polish-German heritage, we tend to be on the front of the curve there. Minnesota, because of the Swedes, I think does a little bit better, but just a theory. But you see by 2030, we're turning blue down in especially down in the obesity belt, which is 60% obesity rate. Right. And this is by age group in Wisconsin. So, as you get into these middle ages, you're up to 40-some% obesity rates. So, we can talk all day about the causes of obesity. The human genome hasn't changed in the last 40 years. There's no genetic difference between humans from thousands of years ago, right? So that means that something has changed in the environment. And everybody that's over 40 sort of knows what's happened in the food supply over the last years. If you think about it a little bit, I think it was great that a McDonald's ad popped up while we were downloading a free drumload. That's exactly what has happened to the country, right? You can't go anywhere without a stimulus to eat bad food. We used to buy gas, cigarettes, and mints at the gas station, right? Now what do you have to do every time? If you're brave enough to go in there, don't you want donuts with your gas? Why do you have to have donuts with your gas? Donuts make you sick. No. So the causes of obesity is the change in the food supply. It's the center aisles, if you will, of the grocery store. It's the readily, Carrie and I just drove all the way across country. It's really hard to get food that doesn't make you sick traveling across the country in a reasonable fashion. So the cause of obesity is the change in the food supply, the center aisles, ultra processed food, highly sugared food, ultra processed food, all this type of stuff. These foods are designed to make you eat them. They're designed so that you don't get full. They're designed that after you eat a bag, and you all know this, you eat a bag of Doritos, you're hungrier than you were when you started, right? So these foods are designed to make you eat more. They're designed to make money. They're designed to sell. Sugary soda, designed to sell. So that's what's happened in the last 40 years is this has all become more readily available. Kids are getting it all the time. You should never go to the high school cafeteria. It will break your heart. It'll just make you sad. They have pizza available every day. Big pretzels. I mean, it just breaks your heart what those kids can eat and what they are encouraged to eat and what counts as a vegetable. So that I think, what I learned over the last 10 years is the cause is this change in the food supply that's designed to sell food and not designed for health. So we can go forward. This is what we eat. Again, grain based. So top 10 sources of calories. Who's going to stay healthy eating this, right? Yeast breads, chicken and chicken. I don't know how that got in there, but maybe that's all right, depending on, I guess, what you mix with it. Soda, pizza, alcoholic beverages. They must have done the survey in Wisconsin, maybe. I don't know. Pasta. But I mean, where do you see something that isn't going to make you sick on that list? Certainly in the top, the only thing would be chicken at the top 5, right? Dairy desserts. So all our calories are coming from food that makes us sick. This, by the way, is the farmer's market, which I think is one of the solutions. Locally sourced food is a solution for lots of different things, and not just health, but also for environmental improvement, global warming, everything else. But locally sourced, healthy foods, vegetables, and clean proteins. So the definition of it, I think, and we got 8 minutes, but I think that one of the fundamental problems in trying to treat obesity is misconceptions, is prejudices, is judgments. So that we don't address it as a disease that it is, we address it in any way but that. Insurance coverage is terrible for obesity. We can't get the treatment. Obesity is the cause of most of the diseases that your doctor wants to treat you for. So if you in our weight loss program, when people lose weight, their diabetes goes away, their blood pressure goes away, their medications come off. So obesity is the fundamental problem, and it is a disease. We don't always address it as such, but if you look at the definition of a disease, a disorder that produces signs or symptoms. So obesity produces hypertension, it produces diabetes, it produces knee pain, hip pain. So it produces signs or symptoms. It's not a direct injury. It's manifested by signs and symptoms. So obesity is a disease. It's actually defined by the AMA in 2013 as a disease. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a choice. Why would anybody choose that? It makes no sense, right? It's genetic, and then environment is the causes. The problem with obesity is that it is a risk factor for lots of other serious diseases, multiple types of cancer, hypertension. NAFLD is called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So this has replaced alcohol as the #1 cause of liver disease in the country. Type 2 diabetes is rampant now in the country. DJD, osteoarthritis, gallbladder disease. This is how I got started in the healthcare business, cardiovascular disease. So obesity is a risk factor now for all those issues. So if it's epidemic, pandemic, it's a disease, the underlying cause. So it's called non-communicable diseases. So in the early 1900s, people died from dysentery, diarrhea, they died from infections, they died from acute abdomen, surgical things, because we didn't have any healthcare to help those people with that. They didn't have antibiotics, surgery techniques were bad, so people died young from various different traumatic or infectious etiologies. Now between public health, between public sanitation, those things have gone away. So what we're seeing now is an epidemic of non-communicable diseases, which is basically diabetes or obesity and the complications of that. It is the underlying cause of most things. If you look at if you're in a business or paying for healthcare, if you look at what's driving your healthcare costs, the obesity is going to be #1. I just was on a call yesterday. Musculoskeletal was the biggest code that people are paying for. Imaging was #2. Musculoskeletal, DJD, huge risk factor from obesity because of all the trauma on the joints. So everybody knows the solution, right? Just eat less, exercise more. It's the patient's fault. We've heard that for 40 years. Obviously, that's not good information. Otherwise, the problem would have been solved. We've been saying it for 40, 50 years, right? A slight tangent, which some of us that are older has heard, well, don't eat fat. It's not the fat that's killing people. It's the sugar. I mean, is the short answer. It's the sugar. There's all kinds of books written about that. I'd be glad to give you bibliographies, but people that are serious about it realize it's sugar that's killing the population, not fat, not anywhere near. I mean, and like we talked about those Tostitos or cookies, you can eat those all day and never be full. You eat a piece of meat, you're going to be full for a day or longer, right? So eat less, exercise more is not the solution. Calories in, calories out. It's not a math or a physics problem. 100 calories of Pepsi is not anywhere near the same as 100 calories of broccoli or 100 calories of grass-fed beef or anything else like that. So it is not calories, no data that counting calories works. The body just isn't that simple. Let's go forward. What about exercise? If you think about it, let's say you live a mile from the Quick Trip, right? Which everybody does in Wisconsin. Everybody lives a mile from a Quick Trip, right? So you walk to the Quick Trip, that's 150 calories. You buy a donut, that's 300 calories, and then you walk home. And you're lucky if you didn't gain weight walking to the Quick Trip, right? There's just no possible way you can. We always, in our business, we say you can't outrun your fork. So exercise is great. We're not against it. There's a lot of benefits to it, but the idea that it's a weight loss technique is way overrated. Why don't you go forward? So the obesity, we think, is a hormonal problem. Insulin is the hormone that your body makes to process sugar. The high carbohydrate, high sugar diet makes insulin high. Insulin makes you grow. Insulin actually makes you hungry. You know this. I was never hungrier than when I used to eat cereal for breakfast. You eat your cereal at 8 o'clock. Your blood sugar goes up, your insulin goes up, your blood sugar comes down, your insulin's still high, which makes you hungry. 9:30, you're ready to chew your arm off. You've all had that after chips or after cookies or something like that. You're short, or pasta, you're full for a little bit and then it's gone. Cortisol and stress obviously is an issue. So, and then our diet is very nutrient poor, which just makes us still hungry for protein, for micronutrients, all that types of stuff. So why don't you go forward? Why don't you keep going forward? Half a Twinkie is not the answer. It is avoiding vegetables, plants with very protein sources, of staying active. Why don't you go forward? This is one food pyramid that I think is reasonable. Again, we can, we'd be glad to provide you references. The bottom is non-starchy vegetables, fats and protein, starchy vegetables. People always say fruit and vegetables. It's super backwards. It's vegetables with a little bit of fruit. Berries are the best fruits to eat. Nuts, and then things up on top like that. So why don't you go forward? What about exercise? We like it, but you get fit in the gym and you lose weight in the kitchen. So that, and then this is my last slide actually, with 1 minute left. So this is what I think. I think chronic diseases will decimate people, their lives, their health, and economic resources. If you're obese at the age of 20 or 25, you have a very tough life ahead of you, especially if you're super obese. I mean, you're going to use healthcare. You're going to not enjoy a full life. It's going to be bad, very sad. Why am I think people don't, maybe you guys haven't talked about this, thought about it, heard about it. Why aren't people talk about it? Because nobody's making money on treating obesity. People are making a ton of money on making people sick. Big food, we talked about that already a little bit. Big pharma, they love type 2 diabetes. Man, they can't get enough of it. They make a ton of money selling people drugs for type 2 diabetes, right? So big pharma is not interested in fixing obesity. Big food wants you to eat, drink all the Pepsi you can get. Big medicine, how much do you think they make replacing knees and hips? Do you think big medicine wants to have you not get your hip replaced or not get your knee replaced? Are you kidding me? They're printing money doing that type of stuff. So big medicine is not on board. They don't make any money by helping people lose weight. Big ag, I mean, we just drove through Iowa. God forbid, it's a monoculture desert. I mean, it's corn as far as you can see. They poison everything. They poison the bugs. They poison the critters, and then they grow corn as far as you can see. It's a monoculture desert. What are we gonna do with those corn? I don't know. Is it good for us? I don't know, but somebody's got to eat it. Okay, so off it goes, right? So big farm, big food, big pharma, big medicine, and then of course they have big money, so they control big government. Government's not interested. They're not going to take this on. They're going to piss off all these people. Are you kidding me? So I think it's going to be, and you're starting to see this, but I think the solution is going to be people taking it on themselves, understanding it for their friends, their families, and trying to make a difference and push from the bottom up, shopping with their dollar, moving with their feet to where they can go to get help to try to solve this problem. Because I don't think our leader, because there's so much money being made here, I don't think our leadership's going to help. So on that elliptic note, thank you for your attention.
Question.
Why don't you go forward? One more. Oh, so I would really recommend this one, Metabolical by Robert Lustig. It's brand new, very comprehensive, and really gives a history going back 100 years of how we got into this mess. So I like that one the best. Yes, sir.
Questions? Yeah.
So treatment of obesity is lifestyle education, diet, exercise, weight loss surgery, and medication. So there's kind of 5 things. We got started in this business 10 years ago when like I said, I learned 15 minutes worth of material in the last 10 years. So, but what that part of the program is a partial meal replacement program. So you buy some food from us. Some of the people in the room, I think, have done the program. You buy some food from us. It's a very low calorie, normal protein diet. So they come in every week. We weigh them. And people lose 3 to 5 pounds a week on the program, which is one of the ways you can try to treat the disease. Yeah. Thanks.
Tim?
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I don't know how you try to crack that. Now it's usually between money and between ease and lack of staff. I know the people that work in our program, they pack their kids' lunches. You know what I mean? It's just starting your, Lustig talks about this, but most breakfast foods are actually dessert. it's all dessert, right? Donuts. I mean, it's just a terrible way to start your day. So
One of our members on Rick.
Yeah, Tim, you mentioned that some of this is related to hormonal. Is there any research out there to suggest that there may be a genetic link to this thing? In other words, obviously the processed food is terrible. Two people can eat it. One person gains a lot of weight, the other person doesn't. Is there any research to suggest that ultimately this is related back to our genetic structure and maybe somebody has one gene that another person doesn't or something like that?
oh yeah, no, there's genes associated with obesity. There certainly is. People from India, when they come here, get immediately sick on the Western diet. We've seen this with the Hmongs. You see this with the Native Americans. Type 2 diabetes is just rampant. They just cannot tolerate this diet. There's a group called the Pima Indians. When they gave them, Western food, if you will, they have a 95% obesity rate. So it certainly runs in different populations differently. You can flip it. Most people would say only 10 to 20% of the population is currently healthy on the American diet, because there's different different groups, if you will. And I would just say that their genes are designed to live in this system for whatever reason, or they're genetically blessed, but most people aren't. So yeah, I don't know that we know any specific gene, Rick, but it certainly runs in different populations, different ethnic groups and all that type of stuff. Absolutely. Some people have a more tendency to gain weight than others do.
Very, very interesting. Thank you.
I think this has been a very interesting topic, Tim. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Little token of our appreciation.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the. Got a bunch of sugar in the bottom. Yeah, appreciate it. Maybe we can have you back again for follow-up. We didn't mean to push the time limit. I just have a couple of things to mention to you all. Today, the board meeting, we will be looking at revisions that have been proposed to change the terms of board membership. We'll have a rotating system set up that I think is a very, very good way to approach this. So somebody doesn't get stuck on the board. Number one. Number two, you continually have new ideas flowing in from other members of the club. So we'll be reviewing that today. You'll hear more about that later. I think the mobile meals is already taken care of this week. Next week I have it. And Carrie, you're new on our team. Have you done it yet? So am I. I'm going to be the one doing meals next week. So, all right. But in any case, thank you very much. Next week will be our last meeting for the year. Our next meeting after that will be January 6th. So we hope, if we don't see you at next week's meeting, we hope that everybody here has a very blessed, happy, and healthy Christmas holiday, as well as a great New Year. Be careful and be safe. There is a board meeting following, so the board members, please stick around. We'll just do it right here, so it'll be real simple and easy. Rick is going to join us virtually. So that being said, is there anything else that we need to review? Not. Meeting is adjourned.